Hello, everybody. I'm Dan Murrell here from Park City, Utah at the Sundance Film Festival with the winners of the festival awards for this year. They were just handed out earlier this morning. I was in the room. I actually got a ticket to attend the ceremony. I didn't run, but I walked swiftly from the theater where the awards were given to my hotel room, and I'm here to bring you all of the winners. And the good news is that if you're watching from home, these award winners, I think all of them, are available to watch online if there are tickets still available. So if you want to see these films, they are the most accessible for people that cannot be here in Park City. And it was a really interesting room to be in. If you're wondering why there's a sign there that says Hot Artistry Soup, it's because the Ray Theater, which is where the award ceremony is held, used to be a sports authority. And so they took the letters of Sports Authority and just mixed them up for Hot Artistry Soup. Just a little bit of Park City trivia here. But let's get to the big award winners. And the biggest winner of them all is the movie that I have heard on the lips of festival goers more than any other movie this past week. And that is Josephine. In line, on the bus, wherever I've been here at Sundance, when people ask what your favorite movie was, the one that I hear people say the most is Josephine. It won the U.S. Dramatic Grand Jury Prize. It also won the U.S. Dramatic Audience Award, which are considered to be, when you look at the dramatic categories, two of the top prizes here at the Sundance Film Festival. I may do a standalone review for Josephine in the next day or two. I've been focusing before the online window opened on movies that you could only see in person here in Park City. But the first movie I watched when it became available online was Josephine. And I have to say that I do think that the hype, or whatever you want to call it, is warranted because it is a difficult movie to watch, but also a very, very good movie. It's about a young girl who witnesses a sexual assault in a park and how she deals with it, how her parents, who are played by Channing Tatum and Gemma Chan, deal with it. Mason Reeves, who plays the little girl, has a incredible acting debut performance in the film. And this is a movie that could be relevant come awards season, because when you look at the history of the Sundance Film Festival and the movies that have won both the Grand Jury Prize, which is determined by a 3-person jury, and the U.S. Dramatic Audience Award, which is, of course, determined by the audience, there are 9 movies that have won both of those awards. 4 out of those 9 times, those films have gone on to be nominated for Best Picture. Those movies are Precious, based on the novel Push by Sapphire, Whiplash, Minari, and Coda, which of course won Best Picture. The 4 films that have won both awards and were not nominated for Best Picture were Quinceañera, Fruitvale Station, Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, and The Birth of a Nation, which absolutely collapsed after Sundance due to some real-life scandal involving the director of the film. So if you're looking for the must-watch film coming out of Sundance, it looks like it's going to be Josephine. I have not yet seen any news as far as that film being acquired. There have been very few acquisitions here at Sundance, but I think that that's going to change very soon. And if you are an awards pundit or an Oscar expert or whatever you want to call it, I think that this is the movie to watch in the next year, going into next year's Academy Awards ceremony, to see if it's going to be among the nominees at the end of the year. In the U.S. documentary category, Nuisance Bear won the Grand Jury Prize. Now, Sundance has been more predictive of nominees for Best Documentary than Oscar winners, although Summer of Soul won this prize a few years ago and later won the Academy Award. You may not remember Summer of Soul winning the Oscar because that is the award that Chris Rock was presenting on stage before something even bigger happened at the Oscars. Nuisance Bear is one of the movies that I did watch already online. I've watched about 25 movies, and I'm going to prioritize these award winners so in my next update I can give you my thoughts on them. I think that it is a fantastic documentary. We've seen nature documentaries before, but not exactly like this one. It is often shot like an action movie, like those segments of Planet Earth where they would show you, like a desert fox fighting for survival. It really does stand out among the other award winners. I was happy to see it win the award, and I'll be catching up on even more documentaries in the next few days before I leave Park City here on Monday. In the World Cinema Documentary category, the Grand Jury Prize went to Hold a Mountain, which is about a mother and daughter in Montenegro fighting to keep their mountain home safe from becoming a NATO training site. Last year's winner of this award, Cutting Through Rocks, is an Oscar nominee this year. In the World Cinema Dramatic category, the Grand Jury Prize went to Shame and Money, which is about a family in Kosovo forced to move to the city after encountering economic hardship. In the next category, which is kind of more experimental films, the Innovator Award, which you can consider the top award, went to The Incomer, which is one of my favorite movies of the festival so far. I talked about it a little bit in my last video. I was happy to see that movie win. In the World Cinema Documentary category, as far as the Audience Award goes, which is voted on by everybody here at Sundance who chooses to vote, that went to One in a Million, which is a documentary that spans 10 years following a Syrian refugee to Europe and then back home. One in a Million also won the Juried Award for directing in the World Cinema Documentary category. The World Cinema Dramatic Audience Prize went to Hold On to Me, which is about a young girl looking to reconnect with her father. And the Audience Award in the next category went to Aniku Bijigan, Ancestor, Great-Grandparent, Great-Grandchild, which is a movie about the struggle to recover and bury the remains of indigenous peoples that are held in museums and other institutions. The Audience Award for U.S. Documentary went to American Pachuco, The Legend of Luis Valdez, which is about Chicano writer and director Luis Valdez, who brought stories like La Bamba to the big screen. And the reason why I'm putting the Audience Awards up front is because the jury prizes are great, but they don't necessarily always fall in lockstep or even close to what the audience is like. Not to say that one is more important than the other, but it's always interesting to me to see what the audience chooses versus what the juries choose. They're usually 3-person juries, some of them 2-person juries, so those opinions can differ. Moving on to more of the juried awards, in the U.S. Dramatic category, the Directing Award went to Hachan Shake Your Booty, about a Japanese ballroom dancer played by Rinko Kikuchi. I've heard a lot of good things about her performance. This is one of the few films that has been acquired here at the festival. In the U.S. Dramatic category, the Screenwriting Prize went to Take Me Home, which was directed and written by Liz Sargent. I watched this movie yesterday, actually. It was kind of surprising to see it win the Screenwriting Award because they talk so much in the Q&A afterward about how much of the movie was improvised. The movie stars Liz Sargent's sister, Anna Sargent, who both on screen and in real life has a cognitive disability that required the movie to be largely improvised based on her reactions. But I'm not saying it's an unwarranted win, because you do still have to write around those things. I was just surprised to see it win in this specific category. The U.S. Dramatic Prize for Best Ensemble went to The Friend's House Is Here, about artists in Iran, and the U.S. Dramatic Prize for Debut Feature went to Bedford Park, about a Korean-American woman who returns home after a tragedy. In the U.S. Documentary section, the Directing Award went to Soul Patrol, which is the story of the first Black Special Ops team in Vietnam. The Editing Award in U.S. Documentary went to Barbara Forever, which is a profile of director Barbara Hammer. The U.S. Documentary Special Jury Prize for Journalistic Excellence went to a film called Who Killed Alex Odeh, an investigation into the assassination of Palestinian activist Alex Odeh in 1985. And the U.S. Documentary Special Jury Prize Impact for Change went to The Lake, a documentary about urgent environmental issues around the Great Salt Lake here in Utah. Not a surprise that this movie would win an award, considering it is literally very close to home here. In the World Cinema Documentary category, the Special Jury Prize for Journalistic Impact went to Birds of War, a love story between a journalist and an activist. The Special Jury Prize for Civil Resistance went to Everybody to Kenmure Street, a documentary about a spontaneous demonstration in Scotland protesting the deportation of 2 local men. In the World Cinema Dramatic category, the Directing Award went to How to Divorce During the War. I saw this movie early on in the festival. Honestly, it wasn't overall a particular standout film for me, but I do have to say that the performances in the film were very good, so it really wasn't a surprise to see it win here, and I do think that it is a warranted award. The Special Jury Prize in the World Cinema Dramatic category for Best Ensemble went to Lady, a movie set in Lagos about a cab driver who becomes night transportation for a group of sex workers. And the World Cinema Dramatic Special Jury Prize for Creative Vision went to Filipiniana, about a young woman who discovers a dark underbelly to the country club she works for. Finally, the next jury prize for creative expression went to a movie called They Dream, which is a multimedia history of the director's Puerto Rican family. So those were the award winners here at Sundance, and it's always interesting, as I said, to see what movies take home those awards, because it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to get acquired or that they're going to be huge box office hits or even award nominees. It just means that to these juries, they had something special, and that's really what I'm discovering even more than I knew before here at Sundance, is that this really is a platform to see films that are special, that have artistic merit, that have creative and personal merit, that you're not necessarily going to see anywhere else before this festival or maybe even after this festival. And I think what I've understood even more from my time here is that, yes, the awards are important and the acquisitions are important to the business of movies. But the most important thing that this film festival does is provide an outlet and a platform and a voice for all of these filmmakers from around the world, to movies that I would never see otherwise, that most people out there would never see otherwise. I love that they have the online element of this so that people can watch these movies, and that's what I'm going to be doing for the next few days. There are a few in-person screenings that I'll still be attending, a few hard-to-get movies that I'm going to try to get into that you can't watch online, but I'm going to be watching a lot of these films, a lot of these award winners. Like I said, I'm going to prioritize them so I can give you my thoughts. My schedule has been very up in the air, so I don't know necessarily how many more videos I'm going to be able to do here in Park City. Like I said, maybe a standalone review of Josephine, maybe one more update on the movies I've seen, but I will definitely do a full rundown of all the movies that I've seen, both online and in person here in Park City, once I'm back in the studio early next week, because there are a lot of movies that I just want to talk about, that I want to share my love for, my passion for, my thoughts about. Hollywood premieres and little tiny indies, they all coexist here in Park City at Sundance. And I want to thank all of you once again, as I said in the last video, for supporting me, for supporting the channel, for allowing me to have the means to be here, even though it was an investment, because this really has been an incredibly enjoyable experience. It's not often that film lovers like me and others can go somewhere where you are completely immersed in cinema. And that's what this festival is. We are away from everything else in the world. I don't even know, honestly, a lot of what's going on outside of this festival, because we are just immersed in movies. And it's been so great to see so many different types of movies and so many different voices that are elevated here at Sundance. So that's the rundown of the award winners here at the Sundance Film Festival. Stay tuned for more. I'm going to get back to watching movies. Thank you for watching this video. If you like what you see, be sure to share the video, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you know I'm uploading something new, and stay tuned for more as we enter the final weekend of the Sundance Film Festival here in Park City, Utah. Thanks a lot, everybody. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.